Today's daily 3163 string compression 3. Given a string word, compress it using the following algorithm. Begin with an empty string comp while word is not empty. Use the following operation. Remove a maximum length prefix of word made of a single character repeating at most 9 times. Append the length of the prefix followed by a C to comp. Followed by C to comp. Okay, so yeah, I mean, so we just want to iterate through the word, have a counter for the same character, and then once the counter hits 9 or the character changes, just restart the loop. So is there a better way that we can do this? Like, can we do that? I mean, that's pretty fast. I mean, that'd just be on time, right? Is there any faster way of doing that? Like, could we? No, I don't think so. Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll go for. So we'll have comp is an empty string, and let's see. Now we'll just say for C in word. Why don't we take the first character just to make it easier on us? No. Let's say active letter equals an empty string. We'll say LC for letter count, and that equals 0. And how about we say if not active letter, then we'll say LC plus equals 1 and active letter equals C. Now we'll just check. So this is like the restart. And now oh, this is a good, like, this is like a puzzle of like sequencing how you do this. Because you have to check the next one. Okay, so if okay, so we'll see, you'll say geez. Okay, so we want to check that it's the same letter and check that the count is less than 10. Okay, so maybe it'll be easier if we set the active letter to be word 0 and letter count is 1, and we'll say if active letter is not equals, and then we'll start from then on. I think we might have to handle an edge case of 1 character word. So if active letter does not equal C, then we, or or letter count equals 9. Then we say comp plus equals string of letter count plus active letter. Okay. If and then we need to set the new active letter. So we'll say active letter equals C, and letter count is back to 1. That should do it. And then we need to handle the final check. The final iteration, because this only happens when the letter changes. Would it be easier if we want to do something like that, like go up until the last letter, and then we'll just say this. Like because we'll handle the last letter differently. Yeah, I mean. So if it's different, then we stitch 2 things on, and if it's the same, then we only stitch 1. So if you get to the end, we either have something like BBA or something like BBB. The reason why we want to handle it differently is because if it's BBB, then this won't happen, and it'll never actually stitch it to the end because it never stopped, it never changed the letter, and it never reached LC9, so it never actually stitches it. We also need to increment LC. This is annoying. This is an annoying problem. I don't like it, frankly. Okay, let's just try that and see what happens. Do we need to handle the... Yeah, I think we do need to handle an edge case. How we say if length of word equals 1, just return 1 plus word. Are you serious? Nah, that's what I thought. Okay, well that's good that it handled that pretty well. I'm surprised that it's like that. Oh, active letter equals word, -1. All right, let's go, everyone. I am proud of that. So we're saying, first up, we need to handle this differently because we start with a base case, like we set the first letter to be the active letter, So if it's only one letter, then do we need the edge case? Let's see. If so, then active letter. Yeah, because it'll end up being 2 because we started at 1. But yeah, so maybe there's a cleaner way of handling this, but I'm basically saying, okay, so the first letter is the active letter and it has a count of 1. And then now, since we've handled the first letter, and since the last letter we had to handle differently because it terminates on a surprise third condition, we need to handle it differently. So now we loop through all the characters and we say, okay, if it doesn't equal the active letter, then stitch whatever the active letter was with the count and then reset the active letter in the count. Otherwise, just up the count. Also, if the count is 9, then we had to stop there. So the other condition is if active letter, well, then at the end we need to handle the last letter, because the last letter we need to figure out its situation, because this only happens, we only stitch to the string when there's a change, being that it reaches 9 characters or that it changes letters. But this is but we also need to handle, okay, well, what if neither of those happen but the string just ends? So at the end we say, okay, so we either stitch on 2 different types of letters if the last letter is different, or we just stitch on whatever the count was remaining. Yeah, and then we just return the resulting string. That was kind of hard to word, but hope that makes sense.